gosh. I have been wondering. I said, the earth flow rumble. Okay. We got a spiritual shift going on. See, that's the other thing. Chosen one, we start to sense and know when there's another spiritual shift taking place. Let's let those notifications go out. And we're going to talk about that. Because I know some of y'all be wondering, wait a minute, what's going on? Like, what's going on? Well, it's like everything all of a sudden, it seems like it gets quiet. Everything gets quiet. Like, shh. And it feels really eerie at first. You get used to it. And you understand, oh, that's a spiritual shift happening. And so the earth flow rumble will be what's considered normal. In other words, it's not going to be louder. It's going to be at its normal level during the spiritual shifts. Oh, yeah. And it's massive right now. I can tell you that. And I've been feeling it for several days. And I was like, okay, it took me a minute because it's been a while since I had time to really reflect about it. And I said, okay, whoa. Yeah, you know, the Lord is redeeming the time. Remember, he tells us to redeem the time, for the days are evil. Glory be to God. I am Michelle Dickey, your host for CHA's Let's Just Chat show, streaming on the YouTube channel Narcissism and Cognitive Dissonance, where trauma healing and spiritual growth are front and center while combating radio frequencies for healthier living. Because we can. We can. And it's all about making better choices when we're out and about. I'm not saying that we don't get, if we're going to make a choice between, a baked cheese cracker versus another one. I mean, sodium count, okay? There's two different kinds of a snack mix that I found. One is made by the same company, and one had like double cheese, and the other one is the original one has a lot less sodium in it. So that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about when it comes to taking care of our inner child there. But it's not all the time, okay? Eventually that will dissipate, and we won't have to do that. But I wanted to get on here and talk about those spiritual shifts. Talk about those spiritual shifts because they happen. And we have to stay aware of them. Not because it's anything bad. No. Not because it's anything bad, but just because we need to know. Stay aware. Okay, there we go. You have to stay aware. Okay, stay aware of those spiritual shifts. So that's that. I've got the chat up over here. We will monitor that there. And spiritual shifts. So let's talk about what does that mean. Well, as I was alluding to in the beginning, what that means is that you will experience seasons of what can be considered crazy making. Right? You experiencing, yours surely went through it in the physical. The Jezebel that gave birth to me was passing away. At the same time, I had a Jezebel case study. It's all kinds of crazy making. All right, well, that calmed down. But in the spiritual, though, same kind of stuff happens in the spiritual, too. We got to sense it. Okay, we sense it, and we've got to pay attention to it. Not, like I said, it's not anything to be afraid of. No, it's just so you know when it's happening, because what that tells me is God is waking up more of his chosen one. That's what that means. This is why we, as chosen one, want to pay attention to this, because we'll know that when God awakens, and usually everything in the spiritual just kind of like the calm before the storm. Okay, so everything in the spiritual, when there's a spiritual shift taking place, because God is waking up more of his chosen one. That's what's happening right now. And like I said, a couple of days ago, I started to pick up on it, and I was like, what is that? I said, what is that? Oh, and because when I was in the mini electrocution chamber, y'all, yeah, that mini electrocution chamber, when I was still there, it was difficult because the radio frequency was too high in that environment. So it was difficult for me to be able to pick up on the spiritual shift. So I probably missed a few. Unfortunately, however, it's all good. No regrets here, but we're back on track. Get back to business as usual. So for those of you who have been with us for a while, you're seeing that we're posting once again across social platforms. We did our first TikTok live yesterday, and so you can catch the clip on TikTok at CDHRWDRMD. So we did that. That's right. Wednesdays are toss-up days for live streams. If we're not here, we might be on Instagram. If we're not on Instagram, we might be on TikTok. I'm going to try to get better at, I'm going to get better at letting y'all know on Wednesdays where we're going to be. And I'm going to give you the handle. Okay? For the Instagram is Michelle Dickey 44. And then TikTok is at CDHRWDRMD. Okay? And so if we're going live there, so we have here Instagram or TikTok that we'll be live at on Wednesday. If we're not going live, I'm going to let y'all know right here on this YouTube channel in the community tab. I want to thank y'all for hitting the thumbs up on these videos so that our fellow spiritual warriors for Christ will get them. See, that's important because God is waking up more of his chosen one in this season during this spiritual shift that's happening right now at the time of this video. So over the last couple of days into today, I had noticed it. I've been sensing it. I've been feeling it. And it is a spiritual shift. So if any of y'all have been wondering why in the spiritual it seems very, very quiet, because it is. Okay? Everything in the spiritual is very, very quiet right now. There's not a whole lot. Yeah, the chaos and the drama, I mean, still there, but it's not massive. Okay? It's not an amount that exactly, it's not like normal. You know how the narcissists, they like their chaos and drama. And so, of course, whenever, it gets quiet in the spiritual, God is in full control. Okay? And so, no. That's a good question, Chris. Thank you, but no. It doesn't have anything to do with that. Because of the pagan holiday, no. No, no, the spiritual shift because God is waking up more of his chosen ones. There are a lot of people distracted by all of those lives and things like that. There's a lot of people distracted by the pagan holiday. And the Ursula Rumble is normal. But, yeah, it's not, well, that's the thing. And you just wait because, let's see, we got a couple more days before that actually hits. So, my theory is I'm pretty certain that within 24 hours of that actually, like that holiday at midnight, I'm pretty sure the spiritual shift is gonna end for a little bit. But right now, right before, God is waking up more of his chosen one. That's what this spiritual shift is all about. That's why it's quiet in the spiritual right now. Because he's waking them up. So we want to make sure we hit the thumbs up, hit the thumbs up, hit the thumbs up. Because we want them to find this ministry. This ministry is for them. For the chosen ones. The spiritual warriors for Christ. The ones that God is waking up to all this evil out there. Okay? That's right. All this evil out there. We want them to get these messages, right, about narcissism, what they're seeing, and to learn that no, what they're seeing is what God's revealing. God is revealing all of this to them. And so, yeah, the funny atmosphere at this time of year and around the other one. Well, yeah, sometimes. But see, around that pagan holiday with the bearded man, that holiday tends to have a bit more noise associated with it. And not every spiritual shift happens around a pagan holiday, though. Keep that in mind, okay? When you are in tune, okay, when you are in tune with the spiritual, with the God Spirit on the inside, you'll know. Because the spiritual shifts occur even when there is no pagan holiday taking place. So be mindful of that. But there's one been going on for the last couple of days, and I have been, just analyzing it, and I said, oh, that's right. That's right. Okay, so what'll happen? Oh, okay. Let me get to that real quick. Okay, when you hop on over, when I tell y'all, like when I tell you all that I am going to be on TikTok Live, okay, like I said, I'm going to get better at letting y'all know. What'll happen is it should come across your feed. You're following us on TikTok, so it should come up when you log into TikTok. It should let you know, because it told me at the bottom, it said it letting my followers know that we're live. So it should notify you, okay, if you've got your notification turned on. And then when you go over there, it should be right there, and it'll say tap, tap to, well, join, tap to join, or something like that. I'm trying to remember what it said. Because I've seen others who have been live on TikTok, and it tells me to tap here to join. And so if you tap on it, you join the live that way. And so I'm still learning too, but we did that, and I've got a clip, a highlight from there. Okay, so missed the time. Well, the TikTok Live, I did not get a chance to go on it. I think it was maybe. Well, I was only up for about 15 minutes. I think I might have ended the live right before you got on, because I think it was about 4:44, 4:39, 4:40 or something like that when I went up. And I wasn't up for about 14, no more than 15 minutes, because I was just learning and I was just delivering a quick message. So you had just missed it. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. We're going to do it again. We're going to do it again. Absolutely. That's why I tell y'all, you want to make sure you followed us. Okay, so you saw it later. Okay, did you see the clip from it? Or did you see the whole 14:39, I think, or something like that? 14 and a half minutes. Okay, but yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to be doing that. And I do know that there's a lot of people, y'all never forget, okay, that while there's a spiritual shift going on, narcissists get very, very bored. I mean, they get bored easily anyway, but there's a lot of them who are trying to instill false hope. Okay, so watch out for that. Watch out for that. There's a lot of them out here trying to instill false hope. So, yeah, I mean, because we put it out there that the fundraiser flyer is a free download off the website, absolutely free. So of course narcissists are going to try and play head games with that. We're not stupid chosen ones. We see what's going on. What? Trying to instill false hope, and we're not going to fall for it. No, because if they're serious about helping us out and funding this ministry, funding the movement, they would have already done so. They wouldn't keep downloading a copy of the PDF week after week after week. Duh. I mean, seriously. But yeah, no, we don't fall for that. You know, just what it is, what it is. They gonna do what they gonna do. They trying to think that if they do that, that somehow it's going to slow down our progress or whatever. We see the head games. What it is, what it is. I ain't even. No, they think that if they put their fake name and fake address in there, that somehow that's gonna help ruin something. It's not gonna ruin nothing. All they're doing is they're playing themselves. They're playing themselves. Thank y'all for hitting that thumbs up. Those of you who are watching, God sees you, and I know who you are. I know who you are, Jezebel. And you just tuning in to see if my circulation slows down after about 40 to 45 minutes. You pop on out, and then you pop back in about 5 minutes later to see if I'm still, we ain't stupid. I already timed it. That when my my body's internal environment was still ripe, if you will, for the negative effects like that, after about 40 minutes, I could feel my circulation start to slow down. Yeah, and it shows in the eyes and in our speech sometimes. Now, y'all know we get bloopers anyway, so that's a bad way to judge anything if they try. Well, they gonna judge, but you know what I'm talking about. To measure if our circulation is operating as it should be, or if we're getting back. Oh yeah, you better believe it. Jeremiah 30 verse 17. God says he is restoring all like it never happened. We discovered, by the way, chosen one, listen. Okay, this is part of combating radio frequency for healthier living. You learn not to let that radio, once you find out that it was targeting a specific area of the body, you start to massage that area. And so when I discovered that it was trying to keep this part of my head numbed, I discovered it. Massage it, okay? Massage it and then ice pack it. And within 24 to 48 hours, you're going to notice a huge difference. So the next time you go to the store and you know that it would try to, okay? Because your ANS got conditioned over time to lean to the sound of the high beeps. What we do is we break that negative association by not allowing it, like and we are intentional by putting more, not pressure, if you will, but by being aware and going, you ain't going that way. You ain't leaning that way. Ain't nothing numbing nothing no more. You ain't getting zapped. You better stand up straight. Don't be letting nothing pull you that way. Awareness. See, education and awareness. This is what we do. Right? So we pay attention to how that, right, because our ANS is easy to program. Our ANS is easy to condition in that way, so that over time, when we go into the store and the ANS would hear those high bleep, 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 because for a decent amount of time, it was pulling my body to the right just enough, trying to keep me off balance. But see, now we're aware of it. So now when we go to the store, we're like, because it ain't nothing numbing nothing no more. No. So if you notice that, okay, if you notice that there's a certain area of your body that feels a little bit numb, like you can feel yourself scratching, but you don't really feel the nails, okay, you need to massage those areas. Wake the ANS back up. Wake your nervous system back up, okay? There's your tip right there for combating radio frequency. If you happen to go somewhere and you start to notice that a high frequency is maybe pulling your body into it can be so subtle, but you pick up on it, you learn to help the ANS break that negative association, so it doesn't continue to pull your body in that direction where you're trying to walk straight, but it's pulling you. See, trying to get your circulation off balance. That's what it's trying to do. So you learn to take your power back. When you become aware, the more aware you become about all this radio frequency and how it's manipulating your autonomic nervous system, you're taking more of your power back. That's right, you're taking more of your power back. Glory be to God. So I kid you not, you can pay attention to that stuff. And so if you notice any part of your body that might be feeling a little bit numb, like you can feel it, but you don't feel the nail, okay, you need to massage, okay? Massage, 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 okay? And the reason that this part of the head, y'all, would be a target is because it's a direct connection to your sinuses. That's why. It's a direct connection to your sinus area. All of this, okay? Because radio frequency poisoning wants to make you think that you've got this or you've got that, all kinds of things that don't exist. So don't tell yourself you got this and that. You don't. It's a radio frequency symptom. Your body's trying to detox. Let it detox. And so now, spiritual shift. So we got all that going on at the same time. There's a spiritual shift. That's why I say chosen ones are multitaskers. You got to know how to multitask. And the reason we know we got monitoring spirits and Jezebel who are tuning in to see if our circulation, they're going to stick around for at least 40 to 45 minutes. Then they're going to pop out for a few minutes, then they're going to come back in because they want to see if our circulation has been hindered or if our circulation is slowing down. That's what they're looking for. That's a big one, and bruising and all that. That's what they're looking for. They want to see, they want to see how long we can sit or how long we can stand. They want to see if we're standing up or if we're sitting down. They want to see if our circulation is still slow like it used to be in a previous season. But see, they're obsessed with that because the devil is obsessed with our health and in large part circulation. Because why? Because if we're circulating properly, that means our body's getting the nutrients that it needs, our body's healing, and that means our body is finally getting the oxygen that it needs to the places that it needs for healing. And the devil can't stop none of that because God is in full control. When God says, I'm going to restore it like it never happened. God says, we're going to increase with the increase of God in Colossians 2 verse 19. That's what's happening. And so the Jezebels that want to pop in and see if our circulation is going to slow down after so many minutes, because typically about 40 minutes is about how long it would take, only if our body's internal environment would still meet the right criteria. And the good news is, no, because we've been detoxing. Duh! So, during the spiritual shift, okay, so you got the full, you were able to see the full replay. Okay, awesome. Thank you for letting me know that. And it is very childish what they're doing, but you know what? They probably think I'm complaining about it. I'm not, because they don't realize that they're doing that, and it's actually benefiting the website. Yeah, they don't realize it, but of course. So, okay, this one, yes, it works. Yes, okay. Asking about this microphone, I have it there because it's a nice representation of our podcast episode. So, but yes, it does. It works. We know about how these external microphones can pick up stuff like the refrigerator and everything. So we ain't in these hotel rooms. Right, we learned our lesson. We ain't going to try that. No, we're not going to try that. We're good. As long as it's doing what it needs to do this way, this is the way we're going to do it. Now, if I do a pre-recorded using that's one thing, because it had to do with Wi-Fi. And since we're on Wi-Fi, we're not going to take that chance of using that. Well, no, because it will pick up. It will pick up the creaking and the moaning and other noises. You know how that is. Remember in the zapping rooms we were in? Yeah. Okay. Okay, and then there's the other one too. Even while there's a spiritual shift taking place, we got to stay busy and keep moving forward. We got to keep it going forward, even during the spiritual shifts. Okay, it doesn't matter. It's like God said, we got to be aware of these spiritual shifts. Absolutely, be aware of them, so that we know, because when the spiritual realm gets real quiet like that, it just means that God is waking up more chosen ones, and so we want to know that. We want to know when that's happening, so that we can continue, being ready, because God's going to bring them, our fellow spiritual warriors for Christ, He's going to bring this content across their path. So that's another reason why we thank y'all for hitting the thumbs up. All right, giving these videos a like for the YouTube algorithms. Thank you, because that's how the algorithm. Now, these Jezebels, they know that. That's why they're not going to do that. They're not going to hit the like button. But I know y'all will. Okay, y'all do, and I thank you for that, because it's a huge way that our fellow spiritual warriors are going to get these truths and these messages. See, the devil don't care that we up here ministering. He don't care that we up here talking. All he cares about is how healthy we are. That's all the devil cares about. Once you realize all he has is head games, and that all he's trying to target is our health, it changes a lot of things, don't it? But I told y'all before, the system of narcissism out here, it don't care what you do as long as it puts money in its pocket. That could be 25 cents. That's all it cares about. That's it. They don't care what we do as long as it benefits them in some way. Monetarily, that is. So that would be by banking fees. Oh yeah, at the academy, when y'all enroll in a course, okay, yeah, Thinkific, the transaction fee, that's what they get. They get the transaction fee. So the Matrix don't care what we do as long as it gets money in its pocket, and it don't care if it's just $1.50. So keep that in mind. And don't forget, y'all, okay, the fund that you sow into this ministry, for the ministry and the movement, as the movement is part of the ministry, they are tax write-off. So I highly encourage y'all, when you do send it to the PayPal or the Venmo, if you've got an option somewhere on your receipt, make sure you save those receipts. Okay, those are considered like tax write-offs. Absolutely, 100%. Every bit of it. Okay, tax write-off. So that if you have donated, if you will, that's what the Matrix calls it, but if you pledge to this ministry, I know here in the U.S., more than the standard deduction, well, there you go. Okay? So, yeah, exercises. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Your fingers, your feet, you keep, yeah, your skin and the whole, everything working again. The more that you use your muscle as you are repairing them and building them for healthier living, that's right, the quicker they will heal. If you're just sitting there doing nothing, taking that creatine, you're not doing nothing, then that's really, yeah, you're wasting the creatine. You got to put it to work. Yes, there you go. Okay, so time of year significant for a spiritual shift? No. Absolutely not. Remember, because God's time is not the same as man's time. So I tell y'all, God's seasons are not the same as man's seasons. Like, God doesn't go by spring, summer, fall, winter. He don't go by that. That man-made stuff. That's stuff for marketing and other stuff. Okay, for the game of narcissism. That's what that is for. Yeah. Why do we have 4 seasons like that? Right. Make it make sense. Because God's seasons aren't like that. God's seasons are simply whatever it is we're going through for 3 months, 3 years. Yeah, one of God's seasons can be 5 years. Not just 3 months because of a temperature change. No. A temperature change that they in the Matrix are the one engineering in the first place. Yeah, that's why I said make it make sense. They're the ones that are they're manipulating the weather using radio frequencies. So they have seasonal weather changes based on the weather that they themselves are manipulating. Evil plays both sides. So yeah, time of year is not significant. Spiritual shifts happen whenever God is waking up chosen one at his appointed time. So God's appointed time can really be any time. Right, and you have to also think about generational thing as well. And how God waits for us to come to him, but he also knows when we're ready. He does not awaken us until he sees that we're ready for it. Meaning, we have already started repenting. Yeah, see, like chosen ones, you don't realize that when God awakened us, that was a spiritual shift happening. We just didn't know that yet because we were being awakened. And so now we continue on in the spiritual awakening. And as we continue to do that, we start to notice, he's waking up more chosen ones. So now we just have to be still and know that God is God always. But he'll bring our fellow spiritual warriors for Christ to the ministry. those who are ready for it at his appointed time. So whenever there's a spiritual shift like this, it's very quiet. That means that God is waking up fellow chosen one at his appointed time. And of course, that can be at any time. So when God awakened up, and it meant that we were already in repentance in some way, shape, or form. Yeah, we were starting to outgrow childish things. We didn't realize that, but that's what happens is as we begin to outgrow childish things like we're supposed to, in 1 Corinthians 13:11, we start putting away childish things. That's part of repentance. We just don't know yet. That's what it was. God revealed that to me later on. I said, oh, okay. So that's what happens. Is whenever he sees chosen one already outgrowing childish things in repentance, at a certain time, at his appointed time during that season, he's going to awaken fellow chosen ones. So that means we've got some fellow chosen ones who have already entered repentance. They don't know it yet. But God sees that they're ready to learn about all the evil that's out here. And it takes a while to process, even beyond y'all, because I didn't know it till recently, but there is such a thing as a very, 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 very extra covert narcissist. They're very skilled at being extremely covert. Wow. Yeah, it was a little disappointing at first, but I didn't let it get to me. I was like, well, of course. That's why they were asking that question and that question. That's why they took on the motherly role with me. Yeah, because only a narcissist would do that. But I was holding on to hope that she wasn't one, but unfortunately she is. She's one of the crept and unawares, though. And that much I know. She's definitely one of the crept and unawares. Don't know she's a narcissist. That's why God tells us being sober and vigilant is so important, because a lot of them out there, they don't even know that's what they are. And Chris, by the way, MIC, that's fine. That's not a typo. MIC for microphone. Yeah, you're correct. Just second guessing yourself. Don't do that. For anybody who needs help with that trigger, don't second guess yourself. That's the trick of the enemy. Yeah, don't second guess yourself. You had it right the first time. You sure did. So anytime we notice now, at this season, in God's reality, anytime we notice the spiritual shift, we automatically know, okay, God's waking up more chosen one. And and so we can feel joyful, although we can also feel sympathy for them because we know what they're going through, because we've been there. Oh yeah, we know that they're like, is everybody a narcissist? What is all of this? And we know they're on Google searching behaviors. Yeah. It's ongoing. That's why I tell y'all, the spiritual battle for the mind is ongoing. It's ongoing. Because even yours truly, y'all, this is a journey. I had to fight off that demon of impatience. Even though I've overcome it, everything that it tried to creep in there. And you know why? Because whenever you're in an environment, speaking of spiritual, remember spiritual energy transfer. Oh, how real it is. So you're in an environment, and so we know how strong social influence is and physical, but you have to remember how strong the spiritual influence can be. Thoughts are spiritual power. So if there's others in the environment who are in their mind, they don't have any patience. They're the ones that are sending out into the spiritual, okay, their own demon of impatience. And if we're not paying attention, because yours truly, sure enough, it's been a while. So that's why I was like, oh, hold up a second. Don't you settle. Don't you settle. We redeeming the time because the days are evil. I want y'all to drop that in the comment below. Say, redeem the time. Even on the replay, put it in the comments. Redeem the time. That's what we're doing in God's reality. We redeem the time because the days are evil. So I was standing there in the store and I realized, I said, oh, no, you don't. Resist the devil and he shall flee. But yeah, that old way of thinking, indoctrination of impatience. And I said, no, not going to happen. Not going to happen. Y'all ain't alone. But like I said, this is why we got to remain aware. I was like, oh, because see, we've just now started venturing back out to get something to serve the kingdom of God once again. We are replacing some old things that are no longer, well, they're no longer serving. And I have a couple of clothing items that got damaged in the previous mini electrocution chamber because the salt is a stiffener. So I had to replace some clothes, a couple of items. And so I was standing in line there. You'll hear more about that, okay, going forward. But I just want to give y'all some food for thought. That when you're out there, this is part of being vigilant and aware always. Well, vigilance is awareness, okay? And so is sober. Being sober and vigilant. Just really don't ignore these things. And so it's in the spiritual. Because I was like, wait a minute. Why would I even be? And so I did. I'm like, hold on a second. I'm not second guessing myself. I'm questioning, how did that creep up on me like that? Spiritual energy. Thoughts are spiritual energy. So yes, redeem the time. Redeem the time. That's what it's all about. There's that ice water, y'all. That ice water. Okay, and so had you ask if you were trapped and unaware with narcissism, well, that's normal. That's normal. You are not crept and unaware about narcissism. You're learning more about it. We all are. I mean, I certainly don't sit here and claim to know everything about the game of narcissism. We're still learning. Oh, yeah. This is a journey. We are still learning, and we're learning together. So you're not alone. You're not alone. So you've had certain thoughts, okay, about, and when you ask God for forgiveness, he forgives and he remembers it no more. So you forgive yourself. Listen, throughout, okay, our lives, y'all, we had normal responses to abnormal situations. That's something you need to understand about trauma healing, is that you are having normal thoughts, normal responses to abnormal behaviors. Yes. So it's okay. When God forgives you, he remembers it no more. So you forgive yourself. Keep on keeping on. Well, they are. I get that. And that's why. Because narcissists are definitely like that. They love to test and try your patience. Absolutely. Because what do they want the most? Narcissists want you to step out of character. They want to get a negative emotional reaction out of you. Yeah. They want to see you come unglued. It's entertainment for them. That's why. It's entertainment for them. So, of course. And I feel you. I feel you. Because they do. They want to try your patience. They certainly do. That's them. That's the devil testing. Remember, the devil's the one that does the testing. God does the teaching. Never forget that. So, I understand. I understand. Listen, for all of y'all who are dealing with narcissists in the workplace, listen, we get it. Been there. And it can be very stressful. But you know, if you've taken the course, How to Deal with Toxic Coworkers, revisit those notes. Okay, I hope you're down. I would imagine, because How to Deal with Toxic Coworkers, when you enroll, you have access to that course for a whole year. So if you still have access and have not downloaded those PDF notes, I highly encourage y'all to get in there and do that. Okay? Get in there and get those notes on how to deal with toxic coworkers, because those same steps apply to dealing with these narcissists in general. Because you really, truly, they love to try your patience. That's one of their favorite games in the game of narcissism. It's one of the favorite things. They love to do that. They love to do that. So you gotta, right, and just remember those 5 steps for how to deal with these narcissists. How to deal with toxic coworkers. Of course, at CHA Academy, btbw.com. Absolutely. Okay? And that, right, they want to see you come unhinged. They want to see unglued, unhinged. They want you to get, they want to see you stressed out. That's what it is. Because being stressed out leads to muscle tension. Muscle tension does what? Slows down your circulation. You got to remember, everything that these narcissists do is on assignment from the devil to try and target your health, your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health, your spiritual health, everything. Okay? Your physical health, yeah, big time. Like everything these narcissists do, because it all boils down to your body normal circulation, your body's oxygen levels, your body getting the oxygen it needs, not just for survival, but to heal. So everything they do to try to get on your nerves, remind you, journal that. Y'all need to write that down. Write that down. The main agenda of the devil and narcissist, okay, the main agenda, one of the main agendas, is to target our oxygen through circulation. Because if our body is circulating the way it should, it's getting the oxygen that it needs to heal. So when they're doing that, they're trying to get you stressed out so that your muscles tense up, so that you slow down your circulation. Think about it. That's what it's all about for them. Because the devil targets your health. This is why we have the movement here in this ministry. We're combating radio frequencies for healthier living to get around all that. Okay, so you're on it. And you can see the game devil's playing. Right, by sending narcissists to the phone line. Absolutely. And you notice how disappointed they become when you stay calm. Bingo. Good job. Oh, I don't have my applause button back here with me, but you know what, everybody? Good job. That's how you do it. Right there. No matter what, if you find a way, you stay calm, no matter what it is they're trying to do, and you will see them. You will see the reward of the wicked. You notice how disappointed they are. You can see it. You can hear it in their tone. You don't even have to see it. You can hear it in their tone of voice. You're very welcome. So, keep that in mind, okay? That you stay calm and you don't allow them to trigger you. You don't allow them to trick you into stepping out of character and becoming unglued. Because you got the power and authority on the inside of you from God to not allow them to do that to you. And they will become disappointed. So, leave them there. Because remember, Jesus already won. Jesus overcame the world, so now we overcome. So that. But yes, they will always do that. And it's through all that spiritual energy transfer. But they really do. Especially if they think they're having a bad day. Oh, they want to drag everybody else down with them. Absolutely. I mean, they want to do that anyway, but especially if they themselves happen to be in a bad mood. It ain't just a bad mood. That's who they really are. But they want to drag you down there with them. Okay, so let's do a recap. Spiritual shift. Okay? What is a spiritual shift? Okay? What is a spiritual shift? It is when God awakens his chosen one at his appointed time. And so, you can sense in the background and all around on a normal day-to-day basis. You can sense a lot of activity. You know, there's a lot of activity going on out there, so you can sense it. Well, a spiritual shift gets very quiet in the spiritual. We know there's stuff going on out there, but it's just not as loud. It's not as noisy. Even the narcissist can tend to be not as noisy as they usually are. And oftentimes it's because when God is waking up his chosen one at his appointed time, that's the spiritual shift, but it gets quiet. And so even though the narcissist can see that, they don't know what it is. They don't know why. They'll continue to make a little noise here and there, but they won't be as, you know that term, rambunctious, if you will. So that's what the spiritual shift is. It's just, right, it's like a new spiritual birth is taking place. Because that's what's happening. When we are awakened to all the evil, chosen one, we got to go through a spiritual rebirth. So the spiritual shift is a spiritual birth. God waking up fellow chosen one at his appointed time, because now they got to go through the spiritual rebirth. So it's a spiritual birth. That's the spiritual shift, is a spiritual birth taking place. That's why we rejoice. You know how people rejoice in the physical when in the family when a new baby's born? Well, for the most part, generally speaking. Okay, well, the same thing's happening in the spiritual shift, because the spiritual shift represents a spiritual birth, meaning God's waking up. We're chosen ones, so we're like, yay, but then we're like, oh, we know what they're about to go through, or what they're going through for that to happen. So we got two things going on there. It's like, yay, spiritual birth. Yay, God's chosen ones waking up. But, oh, boy. All right, so we just stay here. We be ready for them. All right, that's all we can do, y'all chosen ones. We just sit here and be ready for them. Stay ready for them, okay? They coming. They coming. That's why I get excited during spiritual shift. Oh, my gosh, I'm super excited during spiritual shift. And I was trying to figure that out. I was like, that's the other thing, too. It's like, I understand that, you know, we healing and stuff like that. We got the joy, the peace, and the happiness and everything from God on the inside. I said, but what am I feeling excited about? I said, I was like, yeah, so where's this excitement coming from? Now I know, spiritual birth, spiritual shift. And so it is exciting. But then you're also like, okay, get in position, stay in position, be ready for them. They coming. They coming. Because, oh, you better believe it. They going to be booking sessions. By the way, okay, y'all, yeah, let me go ahead and get this out there. We've got individual consulting and coaching sessions available every week, Tuesday through Sunday, virtual or by phone. Okay, virtual or by phone, your choice. And if you use the promo code BTBW15, you will get 15% off your first 30-minute consulting and coaching session. If you use promo code BTBW20, you get 20% off your your first 1 hour consulting and coaching session. Then you can use BTBW25 to get 25% off your first 1.5 hour coaching session, consulting and coaching session, okay? And all individual sessions are for any combination of up to 2 people. Ah, ding, 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 ding. Because, yeah, I do consult and coach couples as well. Brothers and sisters, co-workers, friends, what have you, okay? And it's centered towards you, what it is you need help overcoming, whatever it is you're trying to unpack inside that bag of gifts and talents. Anything that goes into the trauma healing and spiritual growth while combating radio frequencies for healthier living. Because you're going through the transformation process by the renewing of the mind. After God awakens us, we do not conform to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of the mind, so that we can do the acceptable, perfect will of God. So we can walk in our purpose. what God has called us to do. You got that right. So we know they're going to come on in. They're going to be booking session. And so they're going to join us at the academy. All that. Ooh, I see it. They already there. I just heard the Lord say they already there. Ooh. I want y'all to drop that in the comment below, even on the replay. They are already here. They're already here. Glory be to God. I declare and decree our fellow spiritual warriors for Christ are already here. They are with us. Starts in the spiritual first and then into the physical. They're already here. Thank you. And yes, it is a nice feeling, the spiritual shift. Because, right, usually the spiritual, they can be on the negative side too, but we know what you can sense the demonic spiritual shift. Well, it's very low vibing, but you can get the demonic sense of urgency. It's very, very different from a God sense of urgency. See, God's sense of urgency is more relaxed and okay, but you got time. I put it on your spirit, but you don't have to do it right this second. Whereas you can sense the devil's urgency, especially with manipulating the weather, trying to keep people feeling unwell. He has a very short window of colder temps. I can sense the desperation in the air. Oh yeah, and it definitely, you discern it. That spiritual discernment, you can tell the difference. I was like, I can sense the devil's sense of urgency. And so what I do is I go look at the weather app and I go, oh, of course. And so yeah, you get that a lot more frequently, but it doesn't affect us. We see it, we notice it. But now on the positive side, when the spiritual birth is taking place, that's the spiritual shift on the God side, where God's waking up more chosen one. Glory be to God. And so, yes, it is. You just feel yourself kind of like, okay, we get feeling excited about something, and now we know what it is. Yeah. You can sense the curses when the devil tries to apply them. There you go. Try. That's the key word right there, because no weapon formed against thee shall prosper. That's right. Yeah, and some progress at last on our side. There's a lot of progress, okay, y'all, in the spiritual awakening. So when there's not a spiritual shift occurring with God waking up fellow chosen one, I want you to remember to take a look at your own progress with the chosen ones who are awake. There's always progress being made, right? But like I said in the post, right, we got progress over perfection. We're not seeking. We want progress. We want to keep on going forward, 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 forward. That's the only direction to go. Don't look back. Don't be looking back. Remember Sodom and Gomorrah? Yeah, we don't look back. We keep going forward. That's the only way to go. Because God is a forward-moving God. Absolutely. And we're told not to be looking back. But the devil going to try whatever he can to get you to look back. The devil going to try to get you to go back to what God delivered you from. Remember, don't ever do that. Whenever God delivers you from something, do not go back to it. That mini electrocution chamber, oh yeah, the devil trying to pull some tactic. Yeah, they ain't working. We ain't going back. No. It's a health hazard. We're not going to live there anymore. What? That's a health hazard. So no. And not only that, God delivered us from that. So we ain't going back. So y'all got to remember that. Whenever God delivers you, you're strong enough. The spiritual strength, you can do it. Because of Christ. Alright? It is through Christ who strengthens us. Resisting the devil, and he shall flee. No, it's not anybody been asking me to go back. It's the way they play in the game of narcissism, when I know they already know I ain't there no more. See, we ain't stupid. The monitoring spirit at that place, they saw me loading up my car. They know I'm gone. They already got that note, my checklist, talking about the low oxygen. That's right. I let them know I know. And I let them know I know that place is a health hazard. And I got a copy of it. I got a copy of it. They know. They know I ain't there. They know I ain't coming back. But they trying to act all concerned and worried. They haven't heard from me. No, 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 and no. God told me to leave. I listened to God. That's how chosen ones are. We listen to God. When God delivers us, that's it. We go. We go forward. We keep on going forward. And we don't look back. But the devil and his narcissist are always going to try to hoover, because that's what that is. That's a hoover. Like I said, that week that I did the practice run. Yeah. The monitoring spirits were watching. We're not stupid. I said, they know. They just trying to act. They just trying to play the game. They want to see if I'm going to fall for it. I said, no, because I ain't stupid. Because I know darn well that, see, chosen one, you know, it was starting to feel like that toxic workplace that was cutting back my hours when I didn't ask them to. That's what it was starting to feel like there. So I knew it was getting time to leave. Because y'all know that's what they do in toxic workplaces when they don't want us there, because we don't comply to the work culture or whatever. Okay, whatever it is they're trying to breed, we don't conform to the narcissism. And so they start to cut, because it's happened to me too. They'll cut back your hours. They want you to quit. Well, that's what it started feeling like while I was there still. As I was discovering the radio frequency poisoning and other things. It was starting to feel like, I said, oh, they cutting back my hours. That's what it feels like. I'm at this workplace and they're cutting back my hours because they don't want me here anymore. And that's fine, because we won't be there no more anyway. Since we now know it's a major health hazard. Yeah, because the paint in those units, the paint. See, y'all, this is how it's supposed to be done. There's a protective coating that's supposed to go on the paint. As far as I know, that's regulatory. There's certain protective coating, a clear coat, if you will, that had to go onto the paint. Well, however they get away with not putting that clear coating on the paint in there, that's where all that dust comes from. All that moisture in the air, depleting the oxygen with the refrigerator, the air conditioner, Wi-Fi, boom, boom, boom. Law of reflection, sucking all the oxygen out of the air. So, seriously, that's not normal. So they're trying to hoover, but we ain't falling for it. No. We see right through it. Right. It's fake concern. You got that right. Yeah, honestly, I don't know. But that's one of the first things that I noticed when I started, I guess you could say, investigating where all that dust was coming from. Because I said that it shouldn't be that dusty in there. I mean, a person should not have to dust like almost every few hours. That don't make sense. That's not normal living. Because inside that dust is salt, and you're breathing that in. That's not healthy. Master's degree up here in forensic toxicology. That dust is metal toxicity. And the paint that a lot of your paints and stuff have those toxins in them. That's why there's a protective coating required. But anyhow. Well, no, I wouldn't say the texture look necessarily, no, but that's just a style. That's all that is. It's a decorative style, if you will. But it won't. If it's got the protective sealing on there, then no, it's not a dust collector or a dust producer, because see, that's the thing. Without that protective sealant on the paint, it's going to produce dust, chemicals in the environment Plus, it's going to attract. Because remember, salt is a magnet for other salts. So there you go. All right, just a little bit of a awareness and education thing on that one. Like, I know what's up. I saw it. I've documented all of it. So that place became a case study. Yes. That place, when I started to discover the abnormalities and patterns that tell a story, animated salt molecules on a constant repeated cycle, that's not normal. That's not normal living at all. So we've got it all documented. We pay attention to that stuff. Right, no, it's not wallpaper. It's correctly painted. It's paint with a protective sealing. Like it's supposed to be. We go ahead and say per law and state code and all that. So, but yeah, there you go. And yeah, trying to act like we're friends. That's the thing. It's fake concern. Exactly. See, that's a narcissist for you. All right, everybody. So that wraps it up. We talked about spiritual shift, what they are, how it's a spiritual birth, with God awakening more of his chosen one at his appointed time. And then I shared with y'all some additional details about the mini electrocution chamber. No thanks. And how they're playing the game of narcissism and how we know that they know better. And they trying to act like, never mind. That's narcissism in action, okay? They're trying to play dumb. That's what they try. Remember, y'all, narcissists, that's another thing they love to do. They play dumb. They want to play dumb. They want to play dumb like they trying to act like they don't know. Trying to act like you don't know I'm already gone. Trying to act like you don't know I moved out. Of course you know I did. You know I moved out. But they trying to act like they don't know. When I know they do know. Come on now. Monitoring spirits. There's at least 5 of them at that place. At least 5 of them that I spotted. Come on now. Of course they know I'm not there. They know I moved out. See, chosen ones, you got to pay attention. You got to know, listen. You got to be able to catch when they trying to play dumb, when they trying to play with your head or tug at your heartstrings or try to act like they care when they really don't. You know, the Matrix don't care about you. The Matrix does not care about us. Wants to try to act like it does, but it don't. Remember, God said, God said, if ye were of this world, the world would love his own. We live in a world that hates Jesus. We're not of this world, chosen one. Matrix don't care about us. So, well, I don't know if empty is quite the word, but there were just some large pieces of a few things that I left because I wasn't going to, not my problem. You understand me? Not my problem. I wasn't going to be able to bring them in here anyway. So, cool beans, good one, yeah. And, what? It got left. Yeah. The stuff that I was not bringing, God told me to leave it. He said, don't you? He said, no. He said, that's their problem now. And somebody there might be able to use it. Who knows? I don't care. Well, no, I did not leave the sweaty sock there, but thank you. I'm glad you remember that. God revealed to me how the animated salt molecules, right, how excess salt can cause hallucination with a pair of my sweaty socks. Oh my gosh, yeah. That's on the Patreon channel, by the way. Oh, it was crazy. Oh my gosh, but that was one heck of a God revelation. I'm glad that he revealed it to me, though. Very funny. Very funny indeed, Chris. That's funny. Okay? But yeah, no, we're good. Oh, see, chosen ones have a good memory. Okay? Yeah. Chosen ones, you have a great memory. So, glory be to God. And y'all got to keep on keeping on. Remember, keep going forward. Keep it going forward, going forward, going forward. Don't look back. Sending love and light to all fellow warriors. Thank you for watching, listening, and for your continued support. Till next time, let's show some gratitude to the Heavenly Father. And you, keep being you. In Jesus' name, amen.